It's episode 32 of Word Wednesday with Matt Brinza from BigRig Creates on YouTube, where you will see some amazing inventions. Maybe we'll see some today. I've been enthralled with it nonstop the last couple weeks, watching every single clip, every single video he's got. If you haven't, go check it out right now. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I am super excited for this. I have been showing so many different people your videos, the stuff you made. My cousin who 3D prints, every time I send him something, he's just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, dude. And I was like, right? Like, oh, like there's just so many good projects. So I'm excited to get talking about that. But right off the rip, if you just want to let people know like who you are, what you do, what brings you on, how I got you here and all that stuff.
Yeah, of course. I'm Matt, also known as BigRig. I moved to Milwaukee about 6 or 7 years ago for like a boring office job, typing away, doing the most boring coding exercises you could possibly imagine. But then over the COVID period, I got a 3D printer because, everyone needed a hobby when it came to lockdown.
Yep.
And I started to realize that a lot of people weren't really utilizing the 3D printers in kind of the gaming space and really making like content out of that. And I, had a couple like early hits beforehand, like hits, they didn't have that many views, but I thought that this was a potential opportunity for me to finally like break into the YouTube space, which is something I always had wanted to do ever since I was in like, middle school, early, late elementary school. I've been watching YouTube since like 2008, 2009 with those old Gmod videos, angry video game nerds, stuff like that.
Yep.
So, I had been pretty hooked before I would say the majority of people my age.
Yeah.
And I always like entertaining. I always like creating. So I kind of was able to find a niche to merge the two together for what I create.
You said you moved here. Where are you from?
I'm from the Twin Cities,
okay.
So kind of west Minneapolis kind of area.
Okay,
yeah,
very dope. So did you feel that hopping into YouTube, like the things kind of picked up right away for you, or how much content did you have out there before like things started to really like get rolling for you?
Yeah, so it initially, things were getting like 100 views, 200, 300 views. It's like me just kind of throwing things out there. I started with like these 3D printed light boxes that I thought was like, oh, you guys could sell this. And, I was figuring things out, what I wanted to do. I bought this thing called, that I dubbed the McTable, which was this gaming touchscreen thing that I think this Chinese company tried to sell in America, and it didn't work out, and it made its way through all these different like collectors, and I kind of refurbished it to do more like Android and arcade kind of gaming. And I'm like, this is going to be my big hit. And it got a little bit of traction, but it wasn't like the big spike I was looking for. I dabbled kind of between making things from games and doing other little tech projects before I kind of had the big hit. And I think I could pull out the big hit right now. I think it's about apt.
Yeah, right here. Oh, should we we
can do that. Absolutely.
We'll do a little.
Go.
Whoa! Where did that? That's crazy. Jesus.
Whoa.
Okay, this is so sick. Tell the story about how it came about. I'll let you tour it. I don't want to murder your own story.
Yeah, so there's this animator on YouTube called Jaden Animations. She is quite possibly the biggest animation story time YouTuber ever. She does a very good job at what she does, and a lot of her stuff is nerdy and sometimes Pokemon related. I think that's where a lot of her biggest videos come from.
Okay.
And one day the Pokemon company sent her a bunch of plushies from Gen 5 called the Cutie Sitting line, and she reviewed and ranked all of them. And in the middle of that video, she was like, Rock and Roll is really cute, but I think it would be like the best idea. Pokemon, take this idea, turn it into a pencil sharpener. And I was just sitting at work doing my boring thing, and I'm like, that's the next video. Who else is going to do it but me? I already have a couple.
You're like, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Brewskis. Like, we're getting this done. So, yeah, over the next month, I I, designed it with my very incredibly, rudimentary, elementary 3D modeling skills at the time, and cobbled this thing together. It features like a bunch of magnets just to snap things, which I originally kind of utilized because I was bad at working with like tolerances, which is like, making one object like fit into the other.
Yeah.
So you can kind of just cheat with magnets because they snap into place, but it kind of adds a little bit of extra charm to them as well, I think.
Did you, now this may be a dumb question because obviously there's not like formal training, but is everything you're doing pretty much self-taught? You're just troubleshooting, figuring it out, and letting it rip and see what happens?
Yeah, I took like an engineering class back in high school, but outside of those very, very basic things, I'm completely self-taught, from modeling to, thinking about like the engineering aspects of everything, to, sculpting, and even like soldering with like electronics and things like that. That was all self-taught. The only thing that I'm like actually classically trained in is coding, and that rarely rears its head around here anymore. But there's a couple projects in the future, but I don't want to get too sidetracked. But yeah, my coding's still going to be usable eventually in the future. But with this guy, I released the video. I felt like it was a tight 8-minute video. Kind of cut out all the fluff, and people, it really resonated with people. Jaden has been bestowed by her friends the most clickbaitable person of their entire friend group, and man, did it pay dividends for me that day.
That's so dope. She obviously replied, gave her love. Did you send her one?
I replied, you can reach out. I've even met like the odds one out, which is, another like animator YouTuber. And it's like, hey, if you want to tell Jaden if she wants this, it's hers. I don't care if she wants it or not. I would just like rather have an answer just to know. If she wants this, it's still in my possession for now, but offer's still on the table, Jaden, if you're out there.
Yes.
This could be yours.
Yeah, you spoke it into existence. That's very cool. That's very sick.
You want to give it a little test run there?
A little test.
So I forgot to actually test this beforehand. The batteries might be out. It works in the video. Whoa! So sharp now. That's incredible.
Very dope.
I should have tested that beforehand. I wasn't thinking. Mea culpa. That's incredible.
This is so sick. You said it took a month, just about start to finish?
Yeah, and I also had like a full-time job at the time, so that kind of cut into everything.
Okay. So did you only make the one? Did you make a couple and sell them, or?
I only made the one. I was thinking about making mini Roggenrollas with like, that's actually a hand crankable one.
Yes. Okay.
But that was kind of around the time where I was done selling a different project of mine. And not only did that, there's a lot of like logistics when it comes to like production and like shipping and all of that stuff. And it was really like taking away.
It's a full-time thing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it was taken away from, me being able to actually like, create the videos that I wanted to create. And, around that time I was, becoming full-time after quitting my job and everything. Yeah. So it was like, well, I can either focus on like the video growth, or I can focus on more short-term profits, where even at that point, I kind of don't want to, I kind of want to be in good graces with the Pokemon company as well, which is, a fine line to really walk when it comes to that relationship.
Yeah. Having fun versus like impeding. Yeah,
exactly.
I get it. I totally understand.
And at this point, I do know I have a confirmation that they do watch my videos. Okay. So now I'm like a little extra careful when it comes to producing any merch.
Right.
I would like to, at some point, find something that's more kind of branded my way. I haven't released any like shirts or anything, because I don't want to just release like the old school YouTube stuff where it's just like a logo in the corner of a shirt. Who wants to wear that out in public? That's gross.
Correct. That's the kind of stuff you end up finding at like the thrift store, because someone buys it because it seems like, oh yeah, I want to support, but then you get in and you're like, I'm never gonna wear this.
Yeah. Old I'll say like old machinima YouTubers are like the those like Cancun frogs shirts of our
Yes.
generation, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yep.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of
Yeah.
just kind of throw away. I would like to have some sort of design, like something really cool with like the idea of like black and white thunderbolts. Maybe
Okay.
something that kind of is like inspired by like Korean or Japanese streetwear. You know, they
Yeah.
have a lot, like a lot of black and white kind of stuff with their
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and I think
Yeah.
doing something really cool with like jagged edges and electricity and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I think could be really dope. But I've been so busy with everything else, and I haven't really found anyone in particular that I've really reached out to yet to kind of produce that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a leak if that
Yeah.
ever
I
happens.
always I always feel like you have to like build the demand for it too. Like you got to make people want it first. Like if anything, buy like the one sample and you wear it for a couple of
Yep.
videos, and people will be like, "Wait, I want that shirt too."
Yeah.
Um, that's super cool. Which will lead me to I love this, and I watch pretty much all of the videos that you have before you show anything else. Is there one um, you have right off the top that was maybe the most fun to make? Because you had a wide range. Like I really liked the Groudon. Like that was
Oh.
super sick. Obviously the Porygon's like insane. This one's so cute because to me like a lot of the things that you're making too, I could see like actually being produced too. Like they're not like impractical, like completely goofy things. Like all the Rotom stuff was like
Oh
so
yeah.
cool to
Yeah.
see. I geek my buddy Sam, his cousin is a big Porygon fan and a gamer too. So I showed him the video and like everybody just geeks. It's a really cool stuff that you make. But I know obviously this being something that like somebody popped off and this being connected to like one of the first videos, like you said, right? That
Yep.
to really pop off.
That was my
Um,
biggest one. Yeah.
yeah,
That really like, you know, I made like the big DS video was like my first like okay a little bit of traction, and this one I think is like responsible for like maybe a third of my audience
did
now.
did this break you into the barrier of YouTube being profitable for you?
It
Or were you already there before that?
this was the one that it was definitely like my most profitable one
Okay.
because you know it's the quickest to like get to like a million views and things like that. It's the one that kind of like made me realize I could do this full time. Maybe I'd still be still maybe a little bit early, but
Yeah.
when the company tells you you have to return to the office 3 days a week now, it's like okay, well now I got to make a decision here.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
um, I would say I was probably in a position where I should have waited a little bit and maybe not jumped the gun. Like if I were to advise anyone else in that exact same position, I would
Wait.
say make sure this wasn't a one-off thing.
Yeah.
Make sure you can actually like produce these kind of things,
Keep
you know,
it up.
further down the line. But for me, I was, you know, I'm confident to a fault sometimes,
Yeah.
and I think it's been working out so far. So
Yeah.
I've been really happy with that. I think the big thing that really cemented that is I got really lucky that following February where I got picked up by a very very good talent agency, and so that's been like they've been brokering all the deals and
Oh,
like
okay.
because I'd you know that's the biggest pitfall that I think first time content creators fall into is they sell themselves short and they sell themselves early a little bit when they in my opinion if you're only getting a couple thousand views per video basically anyone who's trying to reach out to you for some collaboration is probably trying to take advantage of you for the most part. And I would recommend, unless it's something where it's a product that you really need for what you're doing, and you wouldn't be able to afford it without that, I would say wait and know your worth. Gather your audience to make sure you're in a position where you are providing value to yourself and not just to others.
Okay.
You know?
After this guy, did you want to show off any other projects you
Oh
brought with
yeah,
you today?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you mentioned the Porygon. Why don't we?
Yeah.
You gotta break him
Bring
out
him.
of the other ball
Bring
that you
him
brought
out.
as
Bring
well.
him
Yeah.
out. All right.
Whoa,
Ready?
whoa,
Ready?
whoa!
Whoa! This is insane. This was okay. So I got to be honest. It's really funny. I didn't realize that when I was following your page and seeing your videos, that it was you at first. And I don't know why,
Yep.
because I think in a lot of the videos on Instagram, it's audio and like voiceover, and there's not a ton of shots of you. I don't know, but I had sent this to a bunch of people, and actually Parker, do you know Parker?
Yep. Met her before a couple times.
She messaged me and was like, I maybe sent this to her. And I was like, this is so cute. And she was like, oh, that's my friend. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like talking about it and like sent me your YouTube. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, I know Matt. I was like, wait. I was like, he brought me Astro Boy socks for when he went to Japan. And she was like, wait, you guys already know each other? I was like, yeah, he's been in the store a bunch of times. And another example of small walkie. But this is so just fun. It's clever. It's just so sick. So let people know the whole breakdown.
I mean, it's only so cool and awesome and all that stuff because of the incredible artist Finn on Twitter. They made the original design for the Poor Wegon. And they have a bunch of other cool little, like, tiny little animations and just a really, really unique and awesome creative art style and ideas that they've kind of, you know, smushed together.
Yeah.
And I was really inspired by that. And I was tagged by like 2 people on Twitter, and I'm like, most of the time, people's suggestions, I'm not gonna lie,
dog shit.
Pretty bad. This one in particular, though, that was like a frame one. Instantly, I knew like that's a video. That
we're 100%.
Doing it. Mm-hmm. Yep. We're in there like swimwear, as Spy Fox would say. But yeah, that was a really good suggestion for once, and I think currently, as a video, I think it might be my favorite video I've produced, just because I think from beginning to end, there was just a lot of fun stuff. I got to include more of my friends than I ever have for a video before, and there's something that's, you know, a little greedy about that as content creator, but at the same time, I think everyone can kind of share in the fun, and, you know, knowing like, you know, my friends they're really fun people to hang out with, and they were really fun to you know, show their strengths when it came to like acting in these projects.
Anytime you can involve your friends in like something special like that, it's just a great opportunity. So what was turnaround time, build time, troubleshooting? What are we, break us down here?
Yeah, so I mean,
for those who haven't watched the video, and either way, you should go watch it because it's amazing. All the edits are phenomenal, start to finish, explains how he does it, where the ideas came from, shouts out all the original creators. They're very, very phenomenal videos.
I like this guy. I don't even have to plug myself anymore. He does the job for me. It's great. I love that. But with this one, I think sometimes it's hard for me to put an exact timeline because there's so many times when I'm working on multiple projects at once, because like these kind of things it's like a 4-phase kind of thing. Phase 1 is, I think of like the idea, I weed it out, I think of how possible it is, how much it would cost, how much time it would take, what are my upcoming deadlines, and then, you know, there's usually a back pile of ideas I can sometimes pull from, where, you know, newer ideas typically kind of go to the top. Then there's like the gathering stage, where I have to do a bunch of research and figure out, you know, what kind of things can I cram in here? What parts are going to be 3D printed? Have to think about like so many different moving parts. Like, how am I supposed to get this like attaching thing? This is like a microphone stand from, you know, Guitar Center and stuff like that. But, you know, just figuring out how to get like blue Wiimotes in 2024 was its own challenge. What kind of other gimmicks can I do? I sourced all the parts. This was crazy. I was able to cram in a different project I had into this one, because the last time I went to Japan, I went to this little electronic market in Osaka, and I'm like, oh, that's a fun video idea. Why don't I make a Wiimote, but only from parts from this one store in Osaka?
Okay.
And
that's dope.
and it's like, well, now I'm like, that just wasn't like a full video. I did so much work in filming everything, and it's just like, I just know it's not enough for like a full video. But I'm like, but with this Porygon, now I have an opportunity to actually cram it in there. So sometimes I put a lot
literally.
Literally, yeah. So sometimes I have projects or ideas that that I do actually put a bunch of work into, and it just doesn't make it into like an actual video. And sometimes I can repurpose some work or ideas, which is great. But so that's why like everything's kind of fluid. So I can't really put like, it's like, oh, it's a month flat. And then, there's the build process. Got to, like design everything, 3D print it, make sure everything fits, prototypes. Not everything comes out correct the first time, but that's all boring, so I cut it from the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the final project, this was definitely one of the simpler-ish ones to design in comparison to some of my other projects, but I think that's what makes the project so great, is how simple it is to a certain degree, in design. So yeah, it's like a month and a half while I was working on other projects.
How did this one do on YouTube? I know you said it was second best next to the...
I think it's like my favorite video, but I think if performance-wise, it was like, how YouTube works with the 1 out of 10 versus the 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, YouTube tells you, hey, this video, how does it rank in comparison to your last 10? And I think this one, typically, I think it ended around like a 2 or a 3 out of 10, which was a lot better because I was kind of coming off of a slump of like some 7s and 6s and 8s out of 10s. And it's like, this was kind of a pick-me-up. November also helps. November and December are like your biggest viewing months out of the year because you get more revenue from spending from advertisers in congruence with everyone during the holidays.
And being on the phones.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are just watching more YouTube during the holidays because that's like you have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
and
people are traveling. People are. That makes sense. That makes sense. I have so many different routes I want to go and different questions I have to ask. But first and foremost, do you use this at the house? Or is it more so it's fun to display, but the daily actual practicality of using it is maybe not there for you?
Yeah.
Also, how many people are playing Wii on a regular basis? Maybe you are. No shade. But
so the thing with that is it's lucky. God, that I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm not trying to say,
I'm so sorry. You're such a good boy.
But this Porygon is one of the very few pieces I actually like have on display because I only have so much shelf room with everything else I have in my life.
Valid.
And unfortunately, the majority of my projects are in the basement, kind of in storage. They'll come back out from time to time, but this is the only one that I like really have on like a prominent display at my place.
Yep. That makes sense. It'd be like if someone has their special edition, PS3, they're probably not playing it. They have it on display and unplugged, and very cool. Okay.
And when it comes to like actually playing it, I have a PC down there that we're typically using to play, GameCube games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think the Pokemon company's watching this one, so I can safely say that. So, but it's got upscale graphics. The Wii just doesn't output to HD TVs very well.
No,
unless you modify it, which I didn't.
So we keep talking, obviously, YouTube. What is just like 3 simple like words of advice you would give to somebody either starting out or somebody who's trying to get it rolling more? What are just like 3 off the rip things you'd want to let them know?
Yeah, the first thing is to if you have an idea, actually see it through to the production of the video, right? You're not going to find success right away, especially when you're starting out. You have to keep trying again and again and again. Don't worry about the numbers right away.
Yeah.
Worry about improving your skill as a video creator. You should be able to have like a takeaway or 2 of something new that you've learned specifically about video creation. Learn from, so that's number 1, right? Like just kind of grind at it, have a somewhat set schedule, but be kind to yourself. Don't stress too much about releasing too many times. Don't worry about the numbers. Learn new skills every time. The second one is be open to feedback from friends. Make sure that they're critical and be like, I think this worked. This was funny. This didn't work so much. Like I kind of got lost in the sauce. or it wasn't very engaging. Like, you have to have friends that are open and honest with you and also have a pretty good eye for media
Yeah.
to let you know what works and what doesn't. It's number two. And number three, yeah, I mean, you got, as you were saying before, make sure that the two niches that you find and combine together, make sure it's something that you want to continue doing down the line, right? You're always going to adapt, you're always going to evolve and be doing new things, but if you're not having fun or you're feeling like you're being forced to do what you're doing, then either maybe making YouTube videos should be more of a hobby, which is
Yeah.
okay, or change what you're doing to be more passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, in a
Perfect.
very long-winded
Yeah.
way,
No, I
those are my three
appreciate that.
pieces.
What do you face any, like, I feel like you're not really in necessarily a field to catch a lot of like hate and like negativity. It seems like a very positive community, but on YouTube or Instagram, do you catch like a flack or like hate? Like, do you at
You
all?
know,
It seems like there's not a lot of like negativity in that field. Like,
yeah, that's what I
is there? Am I missing it?
I kind of like. That's what I like about this kind of like area. It's like, if people are mean to me, I don't even have to defend myself because other people will be like, "What are you talking about?" And then it just kind of gets buried.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not immune to criticism, and I
Yeah.
actually, there's sometimes when people say X, Y, or Z, and I'm like, "Dang, they're right," and that's fine. You got to
Yeah.
be open to criticism,
Yeah.
of course. Some of it's unfounded, and they have no idea what they're talking about. And I think I'm glad that I had a fully developed brain before I came into this. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have been able to handle
Handle
this.
it. That's fair. I see the way that some people like engage like back and forth like on their own videos, and it's like, dude, just don't. People love a reaction. So if you show them that you're gonna keep reacting, they're just gonna keep going at it because it's entertainment for them. That's good though. It seems like a pretty positive community, very like
Yeah.
engaging. It's funny because the whole like 3D printing, like invention, innovating like world is so cool because you get such a crossover of like the people that are really artistic that found 3D printing, and then you have the people that are very like tech savvy that like found 3D printing, and then you have some that are like a little bit of both, or like somebody who's just into like nerd realm stuff, and like it's such a cool crossover. And it seems like just in the terms of not this but basic 3D printing, it is at least relatively easy, maybe not super cheap but easy to get into, to at least start playing around with stuff and learning how to model and
Yeah.
print time. How you so you said you've been doing it for about 4 to 5 years now, like since COVID?
Yeah. So I think I got it like early 2020, like,
Okay.
during, at the
Yeah.
very beginning of the year. And I do have to say, as of like a year and a half ago, it has actually never been easier to get into 3D printing.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the newest printers that have come out, that it's a lot less troubleshooting and tinkering and more just doing and creating.
Yeah.
And there's so many models that people just give out for free on the internet, so you don't have to, it elevates your game, and you can do more with 3D printing if you can design and do some CAD work. So even if it's just basic, you can do more with that.
Yeah.
But you don't really need to, because there are just so many designs on the internet. And after you learn like a couple little things about like how 3D printing works, you're pretty much set to go.
Yeah.
Printers also used to cost, of like this quality, of less quality. They used to cost, like 1.2K, like 4 or 5 years ago. And now better printers are coming out for, $600. And that includes with multicolored printing, so you don't have to paint everything. And it's just wild how rapidly this is evolving.
It is. It's even crazy to see the jump from like 2022, like 2023 to now, just in that like 2 year. Because my cousin even bought one maybe like a year ago, and for what he paid for it, he paid around the same and got, like you said, a significantly better one. Um, what would you, just from your experience, what would you like? if someone was like, hey, how much do I need to get my like printing startup kit? What would you say that looks like? What would they need? What would that run? I know it's such a wide range. It's like, hey, I want a skateboard. What kind of setup? It's like, well, you could get $15 bearings, or you could get like $55 bearings. Like, I know that there's but if it's like a starter pack for dummies, budget friendly, what's that number? What's that setup look like?
All right, I have to do a full disclosure here. I am currently sponsored by Bamboo Lab 3D printers. So take what I say with a grain of salt and do your own research after what I have to say. But I would say that if you start with the Bamboo A1, I think it's like $3.99, even maybe like $2.99 on sale or something like that.
Okay.
That is probably the best thing you can start with as a beginner, because it's just so cheap and it can do so much for you with all the auto bed leveling and all these other doodads that make the whole process a lot more simple than it used to be without going into all the technical details. But the nice thing about that is if you want to upgrade it and add multicolored printing, that can be a separate purchase down the line as well if you really are enjoying what you're doing. So I'm sponsored, but I still recommend it. Sorry, I've done it to my own friends in my real life.
No, that's okay. So I have to hit a Pokemon topic. One of the questions I want to ask was, you've obviously been Pokemon fan a long time.
Oh yeah.
Favorite gen? Do you have a favorite gen? Favorite game?
Black 2, White 2, man.
Okay.
Black 2, White 2 are just the best, I think, base Pokemon games. I think that was really the peak of the series with so much that you could do post game. It really like fleshed out, I think, a lot of the battle mechanics, excluding what they still had to figure out weather. Weather was a little bit much at the time, but I think it was just really like the peak of the soul of Pokemon really put into two games.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but for me it's really Black 2, White 2.
Okay.
Even though at the time a lot of people were like, oh, I don't like Gen 5. I think all these designs are crappy, but it also kind of had some of the best designs as well.
Yep.
And I just think the gameplay was top of the line for sure.
Yeah.
With how many features they really packed in it. It just really felt like a labor of love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I go into the next segment, I got to ask this. What would be your Pokemon Dream Team 6? Oh. Any gen, can be legendaries. Doesn't matter. What would your 6 be? Your Dream Team 6.
I got to start with my main man's Jirachi.
Okay.
Love Jirachi. I hate the movie because I wanted to be Jirachi's friend, not stupid little Max. Lickitung, because I think Lickitung's just a cute little guy. I think he's been co-opted into some unsavory ways, but in my opinion, he's just a cute little guy. All right?
Yep.
Then if we move on, I think I'm going to have to pick my man, Big Man Blastoise.
Yeah.
Big Man Blastoise is sick. I think it was my first starter and everything back in the day.
Yep.
I got to stick with that. I think I have, just with my channel now, I just have too much attachment to Spiritomb.
Okay.
So not the best Pokemon, but it's just meant so much to me, and I think it's one of my coolest projects I worked on with the hologram and everything.
Yeah.
So we're at what, 4?
Yeah.
I get to pick 2 more.
Yeah.
I love corgis, so I'm gonna have to go with Yamper, Gen 8. I do not like Gen 8, but I do like Yamper. So he gets to tag along. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Oh god. And then final, just really cool Pokemon. I'm gonna be basic again and double dip on the water types and just say Gyarados. Gyarados is just a cool Pokemon.
Okay.
It's basic, but he can get me out of a bind if I'm in trouble for sure.
Okay.
So,
well, that was a small warm up to one of our favorite segments. It's the top 3 off the rips. Okay.
Off the rips.
So I'm just gonna hit you with something, and you got to just shoot the first 3 that comes to mind.
Off the dome. Okay.
So it's gonna be, what are the top 3 best Pokemon starters?
Top 3 best Pokemon starters. We got to go with Cyndaquil, Squirtle, and Charmander. Wow, two
Okay.
Gen 1s.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
dang. Oh, that sucks.
Top 3 Pokemon movies.
Entei, the Heroes, and then the first one.
Okay. And question 3 initially was about to be regarding the video games, but we kind of already touched on that. So we're going to flip it and go back to legendaries. Top 3 legendaries.
Top 3 legendaries. We're going to go Reshiram. Jirachi's a mythical, not a legendary. So we can't put Jirachi on there. We'll go. Okay, I did Reshiram already. Man, I love Reshiram so much.
New Reshiram card in the new Journey Together Pokemon set looks crazy.
Oh, I gotta see it. I gotta see
It's
it.
N holding on to its neck, and it's like a full art. Like it's so sick. It's so good.
We'll go Rayquaza, and then we'll go. We'll go Groudon.
Groudon?
We'll
Okay.
just do Groudon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? That was off the rip, off the dome. 3 questions, 3 answers. What do you guys think? I thought they were pretty damn good. Do you feel confident?
I feel half confident. I'm gonna have regrets when I go to sleep tonight, but I feel confident in the moment.
Did you wanna whip out another one?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I do have one more.
One more?
But you're gonna have to not take it out of the Pokeball. You're gonna have to turn around for this one.
Oh,
it's
okay.
gonna be a exclusive reveal to the world.
Okay. I'm gonna hide over here then.
Sounds good.
I won't look in the mirror and cheat.
Alrighty.
I'll go off camera. You let me know when you're ready for me.
All
right. Shit. All right. I'm excited to see what's underneath.
Of course.
Any precursor or what you want to let us know what we're about to look at?
Well, I will just say that this is one of 2 things in one of the upcoming videos.
Okay.
And if you see this second one, I think you're going to guess. If you see the sequel, I think you're going to guess what the next one afterwards is going to be. So,
okay.
Without further ado,
oh my God! Stop it! That is awesome! Holy shit!
It's not completely finished yet. I still have to reshell some things. I have to make sure everything looks a bit prettier. There's a couple other things that are going to go on with the head as well. But for the most part, this is the beta version of the Porygon 2. I've been working with the artist Finn to not only do the Porygon 2, but the Porygon Switch as well.
Oh my God. Is that going to be a Porygon Z then?
Yep.
Oh, of course it is.
Switch.
Oh my God. This is so dope. It is so cute. I literally want like life-size 3D printed Pokemon of every Pokemon. Like just everywhere around my house, around my store. Because this just looks so cute. It's so clean. This is super sick.
Oh, thanks.
This obviously stemmed from just the success of the previous, right? Like the idea behind it.
Yeah, and we kind of want to work on like making a sequel together. So I actually had a design, my hand in a little bit of the original design this time.
Okay.
Giving some feedback back and forth, but they already posted the actual design on Twitter. So if you haven't given Finn a follow on Twitter, go ahead and do that. But they knocked it out of the park once again. And I'm really excited to make this video and show off the whole process all over again.
So dope. Okay, so what was, obviously I know it's not done, but rough estimated build time from start to completion? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I started this one at the beginning of the month, but I've been working on both the 2U and the Switch at the same time.
Yeah.
So I've been getting a lot better at designing. I've kind of moved on from this not baby program, but a school meant for, or a program meant for more like first-time elementary school kids called Tinkercad.
Okay.
And I've moved on to actual CAD engineering software called Onshape.
Yeah.
And with, taking the time to actually like learn that and get new skills, I've been able to make things that look a lot better and smoother than I ever was able to before. And I have to shout out to my friend Mr. Volt, who's made a bunch of really cool animatronics from like Portal and Team Fortress 2 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shout outs to him because he convinced me that like, hey, if you really want to up your game, start using Onshape. And I'm like, I'm so glad I listened to his advice because now I can do stuff like this, and I wouldn't have been able to do this, 5-6 months ago, honestly.
Yeah.
So
This is so cool. I wish it was one of those things to where like we talked about before with like just copyrights and stuff like that. Like I wish it made sense for companies to reach out to people like you and be like, no, this is like, because to me, and again, I'm just a nerd who likes weird shit. To me, like these would sell like great. Like if Nintendo branded them and put them out for $129.99,
yeah.
people would buy them even for the old consoles. Like I just think that it's so fun. I feel like people are more into home decor and like weird expressionary like interior design more so than ever. Like when I was 18, 19, 20, outside of maybe me and one other people, I didn't have a lot of friends be like, oh, I want to get nice stuff for my apartment. But now in 2025, I get freshmen from UWM coming in and they're like, oh, do you have furniture? Like they're looking for like nice decor for their home now based off of like, retro 90s cool different bear bricks and like stuffed kid robot. So like stuff like this to me is like, this is what people want right now. Like this is so sick to me. Would you ever gravitate yourself to a more like merchant side of like doing like commissions for people, or are you trying to be more like, I want to create and you can follow me along that process?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think it can be both. I was actually commissioned. There's a YouTuber, True Green 7, who's a great artist. He does a lot of like cool, fun Pokemon concept ideas. Has been grinding it out for, I think maybe like 10 years at this point, maybe even more, I think. But I was commissioned by my agent to make him a Sceptile play button holder. And that was a lot of fun to make. And I made a little short out of it. But yeah, I mean, I've also taken another commission from another creator for their own play button as well. So, if it's something that like really interests me and I think it's a cool idea, I'm down, to do commissions for sure.
Okay.
If I can make, some sort of like content on it as well on the side,
Two birds, one stone.
Exactly. So
do you have like a project that you've been like thinking about or been trying to plan that maybe doesn't seem like it can work, or maybe a former scrapped idea that couldn't come together, like something that comes to mind?
I had a really funny one that I bought all the parts and I didn't quite make it because it was hard to really figure out a way to implement it. I do have something I think way down the line I could potentially actually use it for in the future. But do you remember like playing like Crazy Taxi or those old games where it had like the HUD of the arrow showing you where to go?
Yeah.
I was like, there's this meme that was posted one time, and it's like, it was like just like the arrow, like it was like a dark background. It was like an arrow just pointing to like a gas station. It's like it's telling me where to go, where my next waypoint is. And I'm like, what if I made a hat with a motorized arrow that used GPS location, so you had to like an IRL HUD, and it would tell you where to go for your next like waypoint. I could do like a little tiny like missions and stuff like that, But
that would be hilarious.
I have an upcoming project where that might be able to be used. So,
okay.
Well, I'll leave it
keep
at that.
It low for now.
I'll keep it on the DL.
Okay. Very cool. What's a Pokemon that you love that you wish you could figure out how to work into a project?
Jirachi. It's got to be Jirachi. I just don't
know what yet.
It always has to have some sort of like gimmick or something behind it. I don't like, making projects that you can just like build and it's like, well, yeah, that could just be on Etsy, I guess. Like anything else.
It
has to have some sort of whimsical, I think that's a weird word to use, but like some sort of additional little functionality behind it.
Correct. Some ingenuity behind it, along with like something that I don't know, just like some of the projects,
some novelty. Novelty is the word I like using.
It's like shit that you don't think could actually be real. It almost seems like some of the stuff you're making is so cool. It almost is like, oh, this is like movie prop stuff almost like the, oh my gosh, why can't I think of the Fuecoco?
Yeah, the rice cooker.
The rice cooker, gas.
Yep.
Like, what's the other one that you did that I was geeking out? Obviously, we talked about the Spiritomb already. But what was another? What am I blanking on? There was another Pokemon.
The Rotoms, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Because you were gonna make, you did like the fridge, right?
Yep.
And I was showing one of my coworkers here, and she was like, "This is insane." And I like, these don't even seem real. And I was like, that's why I love them, because they have you ever been to like House on the Rock?
God, yes, once. I've been there once.
Okay, literally like 1960s acid trip. Okay.
Yeah. You are so exhausted when you get out of that place. Sorry, I go crazy about that thing.
Yes. You're like, we didn't take acid, right? Because I feel like you just experienced that too, right? It is, especially like for the people who don't even know like what it is. I know people who've gone and they thought it was like just like a walk around observatory kind of thing. And I'm like, oh no, no. It's like Willy Wonka. It's like,
it is like Willy Wonka.
It's like northern Wisconsin, like Willy Wonka. If you've never been, look into it. But stuff like this is like, if they did like a Pokemon futuristic room, it would be like shit like this, to where it's like, they never made that. Like, where did these things come from? Because it's like real world Pokemon. Like the closest thing we would ever get to like living, like when you made the 3D printer, the Pokemon resin printer, and it's like, that to me was so crazy, because it's like, that's a Pokemon thing. That's not supposed to be in the real world. But if we were in the Pokemon world, there would be products like this there.
Yeah.
Like, it's the way that it's crossed over. I really love it. It's very fun. As soon as all the dots connected, we're like, wait, I actually know this guy. I could potentially get him in on a Word Wednesday. I was like, I got to reach out, because just the projects are so fun. And I just really wanted to get you on and talk about this more and expose it more, because it's just really cool, especially knowing there's so many cool just people in our city that a lot of people don't know about, or projects that are occurring, things people are building, fun that's being had. And that's like one of the points of Word Wednesday, is like shining light on local people. And this is like exactly what it's about. And I'm glad we broke out the big table, so we could show all the projects. This is so cool. Thank you for debuting it with us and breaking it out and showing it. So when are you gonna you have like estimated time of like completion, or like video upload time? March?
Hopefully by the end of March.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. There might be a different video that comes out beforehand, which I think you will be equally amused by.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
No spoilers. I did enough spoilers today.
Yes. So. When's that one coming out? Do you know?
Possibly also March. We'll see. Okay. We'll see what the contracts are allowing me to do.
Yes.
We'll just say that.
Okay. Very cool. Well, is there anything else you wanna plug? Let people know what you have coming up. Let people know where they can find you. Like, do you do any like conventions, or like do you?
Yeah, actually, this is a stretch, but if anyone is going to go and knows what open source is, it's the coolest science fair for adults, essentially.
Okay.
Where it's a bunch of YouTubers, a bunch of creators, a bunch of geeks, a bunch of engineers come together, showcasing their projects. There's panels from, Mark Rober's been there before, he works very closely with like the people who run it. If William Osman or Michael Reeves and his crazy, taser filled projects and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. I think it's if you're tired of going to anime cons all the time because they're just all the same, this is definitely completely different. Unfortunately, it's all the way out in California, in the Bay Area, so you do have to travel. But if you've never even heard about open source before, I recommend checking it out. I should have all the Porygons there this year. That's kind of my plan.
Okay.
Maybe do like a little Pory gauntlet. speed run thing.
Very dope.
Yeah,
I love
fun.
that.
So yeah, if you want to see me there, I'll be there. I mean, other places. I mean, I'll probably be walking around Midwest Gaming Classic just
Yeah,
because
we'll be
it's a
there.
fun time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll see you there then for sure.
Before I forget, did you buy the Reggie Steele costume? Or what happened with that?
Speaking about leaks.
Because the reason why I say that is because we saw that we're obviously what we do, we're always on Marketplace. And I saw that and I was like, that's Reggie Steele. That's not a Raiders costume.
Yep.
I was like, that's Reggie Steele.
I posted exactly that, and it is now my most viewed tweet of all time. So I'm like, well, I'm going to a con in 2 weeks. Let me just hunker down and make it real. I was supposed to take January off, but it's not off anymore. Reggie Steele's on the table. So yeah, that's really funny that you saw it and thought the same thing.
I was like, me and Emmy were one of the girls who works here. We were dying. I was like, dude, somebody needs to buy that and wear it as cosplay. I'm like, you just have to slap 6 dots on it and call it a day.
Yep.
And we were laughing so hard. And then sure enough, when we went back to look at it, it was sold. I was like, oh my God, someone's going to do it. Someone's totally going to do it.
That's crazy. You called it just by not even knowing that I like tweeted it out or anything. You just knew.
And okay,
that's so funny.
Then ironically, after I was looking at your Instagram, I was scrolling and I saw it. I instantly sent it to Emmy and she was like, no fucking way. And I was like, I have to remember. I'm so glad I remembered. You said conventions and I was like, oh fuck, I almost forgot to bring it up.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to bring it up because I was like, no way. Yeah. And then when it was funny because you had posted, I'm like, oh, thank God somebody else posted and thought that because how was that Raiders anything?
I don't know.
I still don't understand.
It's a mascot, I guess, that they made that represents their fans to a certain degree.
Okay.
I've never heard. I watch the NFL. I've never seen or heard of this monstrosity before. But gol darn is it going to make a nice YouTube thumbnail, that's for sure. Can you imagine the thumbnail where it's split halfway through with its face on one hand?
Yeah.
And then the Reggie Steele, oh man, if that video doesn't pop, I think I quit,
dude,
honestly.
I was like, no fucking way. I was like, that is so good. Yeah, I was dying. That was so good. It made me inspired to just go like reconsider all of my cosplay stuff. I was like, we need to. Now I was like, we should go find that. How funny would it be to go as like a gang of Reggie Steele? Like if you could get like 5 of your friends to all buy that same one and like all do it as like a squad, squad,
or the other Reggies as well, because you know about the memes about Reggie Rock.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say the word out loud, but you know what I'm talking about.
Dude, why did like the Pokemon leaks ruin stuff for so many people? My buddy has a Typhlosion tattoo.
Oh no, got, like, I was referring to a specific meme that that was created by the fans. That's a whole separate. Yes. What the heck were they thinking? Yeah.
Yes, the whole time.
Oh God!
But like, oh my God,
poor
all
Typhlosion
the leaks.
Fans.
He's got them tattooed on him.
Oh no!
And I was like, I had to mess with him. I was like, did you get that before or after? Like, oh man, it is. Poor guy.
It's not. It's almost as bad as getting a P. Diddy tattoo. Honestly, it's kind of in the same vein at this point.
I'll be honest. We had a R. Kelly rap tee, and I was like, "What do you do with this now?"
Someone's gonna buy it. Someone's gonna buy it. Do you have Brett Favre merch still here?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna buy it.
We have a Mark Chimura.
Yeah.
We have like the crazy thing is too is like the P. Diddy stuff is like all the old Diddy merch is like expensive, like those rap tees and shit. Some of those tees are $400, $500, $600. So like now what are they?
Yeah,
what are they?
Really funny, ironically though. Oh, like some people, for them, it's like that is the funniest ironic shirt they could wear somewhere.
I almost
not my cup of tea, but
dude, if we had a Diddy shirt here to wear a skit of like walking in and like having the R. Kelly shirt on, someone being like, bro, you can't wear that. Take it off. And be like, what? Why not? Dude, take it off. Fine, you take it off to have the Diddy shirt on underneath. Like...
Cinema.
And they say my YouTube videos couldn't do well. Are you kidding me?
Just got to execute on those ideas. That's all you got to do.
People would be so upset so quickly.
Nah. The internet's a lot more chill about those kind of things nowadays. Maybe not your family. That might be a different story, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Well, dude, thank you again for bringing projects, showing off something new and special that nobody else has seen before, previous projects, just taking the time to do this. I know you're busy with work and everything else, but I appreciate it, dude,
Of course.
truly. So
I had a lot of
thank
fun
you.
coming back in. It's been a while.
Hell
So
yeah.
nice talking to you.
Yes. Well, again, this was episode 32 of Word Wednesday. Check out, let them know your YouTube again, where they can find you.
BigRig Creates. It's in the title of whatever video you're watching on, probably Instagram Reels.
Yes.
Check me out. BigRig Creates everywhere. That's about
Instagram, YouTube. I'll have it in the descriptions on the Instagram. I'll have it on the descriptions on the YouTube. Thank you again, dude. Much love. Appreciate it.